5% of NBA players have not gotten the shot, but Kyrie Irving is taking like 100% of the blame. Kyrie even said he wanted to keep it private. Bradley Beal didn't keep it private and said this.
I would like an explanation to, people with vaccines. Why are they still getting COVID? Yes, I developed the antibodies for it, so my chances will be less likely now as well, right?
Okay, never mind that someone who hasn't gotten the shot can easily pass it along to other people. They're less likely to go to the hospital. None of that is the point. The point is Bradley Beal's team sucks. The reason Kyrie is getting slammed is the Nets are extremely relevant and New York won't let him play in home games without getting the shot. That is 41 home games without the Nets' third best player. That's a huge friggin' deal and could easily hurt the best team in basketball. By the way, was anyone surprised when Kyrie was one of the players who refused? Obviously not. He's the conspiracy theory guy. Always causes drama. Any drama to be had in the NBA, Kyrie's gonna find it. Dude wants to do his own research. He should actually quit basketball because he's got so much research to do. He's got to study astronomy to find out if the world is flat because he doesn't trust professionals and history. Now he needs degrees in epidemiology and medicine because he doesn't trust the shot. How will he ever have time for basketball? Honestly, they're going to have to trade him. Not because they can't win without a trade, but because he's breaking the rules. The rule is you can be really annoying if you are really good at basketball. He can have fights with the media or take a vacation without telling the team because he is a badass on the court. But missing 41 games plus playoffs because of this means he has no value. He can't play. I thought trading Kyrie was impossible a while ago because he and Kevin Durant are friends. But that's what I thought about DeAndre Jordan, and he's now a Laker. And I know some of you actually agree with Kyrie, and I get if people were worried about the shot when it was brand new because it was rushed, but now this thing is FDA approved. Millions of people have gotten it with no problems. Andrew Wiggins just got it, so that mess is over for the Warriors, but Kyrie is still holding out. Now, the NBA is not going to pay him for games that he misses, which I think is great. Adam Silver has been way too soft on these players historically, but if Kyrie doesn't do this, he should be traded to a team that will allow him to play games without the shot. Now, before we get into trade scenarios, you have to know this. Sports Illustrated said Kyrie's trade value is, quote, next to nothing. And hell yeah, it is. Who wants to deal with this dude? I mean, Kyrie is super lucky because he has a friend like Kevin Durant who wanted him on his team. The Nets do whatever KD says. Every other team, though, does not need this mess. His personality is like, I'm my own guy, I'm smarter than all of you, I don't really care that much about basketball, I'll just sit out. And it doesn't even matter that he's gonna lose over $400,000 per game. Now that is putting his money where his mouth is, which I respect, but it's also like super selfish. And yeah, I don't feel bad for the Nets because this is the risk you take when you have Kyrie on your team. But I still have Brooklyn as my title favorites, even without Kyrie. I heard a bunch of ESPN talking heads say that the Bucks are the favorites. That is so dumb. The Bucks almost lost to the Nets without Kyrie or James Harden. The media has to be politically correct and say, oh yeah, the Bucks, we like them because they won the title. If they don't say that and they picked the Nets without Kyrie, they would get texts from like front office people and players ripping him. No, the Bucks only won the championship because of a lot of superstar injuries, which probably will not happen ever again. The Nets still have more talent than anyone without Kyrie. They've got Kevin Durant, maybe the best player in the world. James Harden, a better point guard than Kyrie. Depth with guys like Patty Mills, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, plus all-stars past their prime on cheap contracts like Blake Griffin, Paul Millsap, and LaMarcus Aldridge. The Lakers still have to figure out how to weave in Russell Westbrook, but people are going to agree on ESPN with the Bucks. Giannis was an absolute beast in Game 6 against the Suns. 50 points, 14 boards, 5 blocks. But the Bucks' second best player probably Drew Holiday. That is just not sustainable in the NBA playoffs in a normal year. Superstars win the biggest games, and the Nets have the edge even without Kyrie. If we rank the players, especially stars, in a Bucks-Nets matchup, it would go KD 1, Giannis 2, Harden 3, Middleton 4, Holiday 5, Blake Griffin 6, Aldridge 7. Also, Giannis has serious holes in his game. What he did against the Suns was legendary, but in a normal year, he wouldn't have even gotten that far. And what makes the Nets even more dangerous is if they do trade Kyrie. Now, my first trade idea I wanted to do, your boy Ben Simmons for Kyrie, but Stephen A. Smith said that KD said, hell no, I do not want Ben Simmons on my team. So what if instead the Nets receive John Wall? The Rockets get Kyrie, Danny Green, and a bunch of young players, and the Sixers get Eric Gordon. Now, the Nets get John Wall, who is still a really good point guard when healthy, and we did see him healthy last year, and he's better on defense than Kyrie. Yes, John Wall is a wild card, but not the same kind of wild card as Kyrie. And Brooklyn doesn't need John Wall to be their number one guy or even their number two. Now, the Rockets have been looking to trade John Wall to a contender. Obviously, there aren't many offers out there, right? But Kyrie, apparently, according to Sports Illustrated, has almost zero trade value right now. That is the same as John Wall. They're a perfect fit. So what the Rockets do is what they were gonna do with John Wall. They say, don't worry, Kyrie, you can just stay home while we rehab your trade value and find a fit. And by the way, I think eventually the Rockets would get a better package for Kyrie than John Wall. Kyrie is still in his 20s. John Wall, huge injury history, in his 30s. They also get a lot of young talent, including Cam Thomas, who is Summer League MVP. The Sixers get Eric Gordon, who provides them some much needed shooting. This might actually be a good thing for Brooklyn because they were trying to extend both Kyrie and James Harden the way they did with KD. Now? Hell no! Kyrie's teams put up with this kind of crap because he's great at basketball. If he's not even able to be on the court, then get this dude out of here. And that is the really crappy thing for Brooklyn. I think if the Nets don't trade for John Wall, there's really nothing else out there unless they deal him for like 10 cents on the dollar because no one wants to put up with this dude. The Nets are almost in like a Ben Simmons situation right now. They've got a guy who is super talented, but that no one wants to pay equal value for that talent. And I would seriously consider trading for Ben Simmons if I were the Nets front office. Maybe it comes down to that if this drags into the season. I actually saw one article suggest the Nets trade Kyrie for Malcolm Brogdon, which I don't think the Pacers would do, Goran Dragic, which the Raptors wouldn't do, or Josh Hart. Not only should the Pelicans not poison Zion's team like that, but Josh Hart? Dude, talk about low trade value. The Nets would be so much better off just sitting Kyrie until his value comes back up. Let me know who you guys think the Nets should trade Kyrie for, but to me, John Wall is all they got.